I was talking about all the love that those Manidoog have for our children, our Anishinaabe children. There's so many ceremonies that have been put in place where the tobacco for that child goes out right away. And before I mention those ceremonies, I also talked about those Manidoog that have appeared, that have showed up and played with our children. They're called Memengwe Siwag in our language, probably the translation. They're known as the little people, and they have been known to appear and play with our children. I have heard that happening. And every time I do a ceremony where children are involved, I usually offer a tobacco to those Manidoog, those little people, because of that love they have for our children. And I went on to talk about some of the ceremonies that we've covered earlier that were given to help our children. One of them is within 4 days after a child is born, there is a feast and offering of tobacco. And that is when the feet, the little feetsies, the little feet of that child first touches the ground and connects with that spirit that Manidoog in the earth and gets their help from that. There's also the We'en ceremony, which some people do it even on that fourth day at the same time, that ceremony. And the parents select equal numbers of people that they respect and select as namesakes for their child. And there's the tobacco given to them, and the food. There are plates of food prepared for these We'ens, and it is from there, that process, that the child gets an Anishinaabe name. And preferably the best way for this to be handled is the parents go to the person that's known or has been capable of giving Anishinaabe names, and they give tobacco to that person, and the person smokes their pipe upon receiving that tobacco, and also places the tobacco by the side of their bed, usually in a basket. And during one of those nights, usually what happens is the Manidoog show up. They show up in their dreams. And that individual is shown something, is gifted with something. And it is from there that individual is able to give the name to that child. So that's the way it needs to be done. And what's special about that is that, when that name was given, we realize, it comes from those Manidoog. That individual was given that dream, and the child gets that name. And then when those Manidoog hear that name, they love that, because after all, it originated from them. There's that connection there. You just can't go out and randomly give an Anishinaabe name. You need to go through this process. You need to have been shown something. And from there, you give that baby its name. So that's where a lot of our names come from. And we were just thinking about that and talking about that the other day. When if you listen to some of our Anishinaabe names, the names that our people have been given, you hear them usually, maybe it's an animal, they're named after, maybe the winds, maybe the earth itself. And you hear those dreams, you think, and you wonder, what was that individual shown in their dream? We have so many variations on those names, but those are the Manidoog that showed up in the dream and showed their love for that child, for that individual when they were younger. The other ceremony I was talking about was that's when a child first goes into a dance, a ceremonial dance where our ceremonial drums are being used. These ceremonial drums are very important to our people. They have been handed down for generation after generation. We have 11 drums on the Mille Lacs reservation, and these go way back. They are not these power drums, where you hear about the different powwows that they have. That isn't a ceremony that we were given as a people. In fact, that's one that I seldom go to. I really don't like the idea of those powwows. Those were something that we were given, we are allowed to do by the Chimukaman, by this government. If you take a look at the drums, the ceremonial drums that we were given, that those Manidoog have given us, those went underground. We had to hold our dances, our ceremonial dances, privately, hid out. We were afraid that, there might be some repercussions. So that's why, to me, that these are the drums that are important to us as a people. Those are the ones we were given. And yet you look at our people, it's crazy. They go to some of those powwows. So many of them, but yet ignore the drums that we were given. Maybe it's because they don't know. But that is something. In the Wild Bill Hickok days, when they had these traveling shows, they allowed our people to dress up and use these band drums to please the Chimukaman, so he could see this spectacle of feathers and whatever. It was put there for their enjoyment. And then yet these other ceremonies had to go underground. I just thought I'd share that. But anyway, when the baby's first brought into a dance, the parents do a ceremonial offering of tobacco and food. Usually it's finger food. And when they bring their baby in, usually one of the parents goes around the ceremonial drum, puts their tobacco in the tobacco box, and then goes on to give that remaining tobacco to the person who will speak for them. And that is this person that will offer up that tobacco and that food on behalf of that child, and ask those Manidoog, those spirits that are present there at that dance. Our old people always said, whenever those drums are open, right above is where those Manidoog sit. And it is from there they watch our people and listen to our people and help them. And that tobacco goes to them, asking for help for that baby. You ask for good things like good movement, good health, everything positive for them. And they always talked about when you lift up a child, a little Anishinaabe baby, you see his little legs kicking. That's showing, he's showing that how much he likes our ceremonial dances and wants to dance.